Hi, I'm Linda, and this is No Frills ASMR. My thoughts are about as scattered as this appears right now because I kind of started looking up one thing and then came across something else. So we'll get there. But before I start, I want to tell you I'm having this odd thing today where I feel fine, everything's fine, and then suddenly I'll get like a very shooting headache that kind of stops me for a second and then it goes away. So I took Advil and I've been drinking a lot of water because I have been outside and it's hot, so I thought maybe I'm dehydrated. But I don't know. So hopefully that won't happen, but if I get quiet, it just happens and then goes away. I don't know. But the other day, I did a couple of videos with the periodic table, but the soft-spoken video I did the other day, we were looking through a book, kind of learning about the different elements. I feel like I'm going to have to do another before I begin my 100 tangents. This woman said to me, and I think I may have heard this before, but that everything after, I'll have to look at the comment again. And I don't know why I assume it's a woman. I just think it was 97. I don't know where that is. I can't see it. Down here probably. Is man-made from nuclear fission. I'm going to have to go back and look at that. So interesting. But anyway, I did a video looking at a book, and in the book, there was a picture of the Statue of Liberty. And I said that I recalled having been in the probably 70s climbing up to the torch of the Statue of Liberty. I was like, maybe that's a false memory, but that's kind of what I think. So today I looked it up, and there's just a lot to talk about. So, first of all, I was looking through my books. I have so many books around here and couldn't find a good picture of the Statue of Liberty, but there she is. It's the best I could do. Now, I remembered a vague memory of going through up a spiral staircase that takes you all the way to the top of the torch, and that we took pictures up there. And it's interesting because I did a video one time on the Mandela effect, which is where a lot of people have the same misremembering. And a lot of people think they did that, but it isn't even a staircase that takes you there. You have to climb a 40-foot or 40, I don't know, something ladder. It's just like a ladder. Now, I definitely did not do that. And the spiral staircase, you feel like you're going really tight, like you'd be going up that arm, but it's actually like just going up her, I don't know, neck or something, that it does get very tight spiral. And you do have to climb up a lot of flights of stairs. I can't remember now how many, but they said like it's on the state park website. I think it's like 10 flights of steps, and there's a part where it gets narrow just to get to her crown. And then you get up there and there are windows and you can look out and take pictures. So probably my memory of taking pictures were at those crown windows, and maybe in my kid brain I thought I was up here because you are up high, because it's more than just her, it's this whole thing you go up. But to this day there's no elevator to take you all the way up. I think you can go in the base, but to get to her crown you still have to walk up all the steps. So anyway, I misremembered that. And apparently it's sort of a Mandela effect, which if you're curious, I have done a video about the Mandela effect. But that has also led to some, and you guys know I'm not a fan of conspiracy theories, but to some conspiracy theories, and we'll talk about that later a little bit, not really a lot, because I just have zero interest. let's see. What do they say about one of the most famous structures in the world? The Statue of Liberty is an inspiring symbol of hope and freedom. Built on Liberty Island, the site of a former quarantine station. That's interesting. We have to do a whole thing on that. That's so interesting. And harbor fortification. The base of the statue is 150 feet high, faced with granite. It is inscribed with a sonnet by Emma Lazarus titled The New Colossus, which welcomes immigrants to the U.S. The quarantine thing, I gotta take a note somewhere to do just a video on quarantine. When I was in Croatia, we were talking about the quarantine before they'd let you into Dubrovnik back in, the old days. And while we were there, it was COVID, so they were like testing people before they go in or go out. It was all very interesting. It was like, I don't know, it's worth doing nothing on. Okay, so a little bit about, hold on, let me set this down. The Statue of Liberty. She is, well, this map's going to be way too small, but just so you have an idea, if you're not from here, here's the United States. The Statue of Liberty is like right in here in the harbor. So ships come in this way, and they are going to Ellis Island. But the Statue of Liberty is close by. And so back in the old days, when people would come in through immigration at Ellis Island, they would see the Statue of Liberty as they headed in, which would be pretty exciting after you cross the ocean for however long that took. And you're finally coming up towards land, and there's this big, beautiful statue. And she was conceived by a man named, and I'm probably going to say these French names wrong, but I think it was Eduardo de Laborde. And it was sort of his idea, and he got a French sculptor named Auguste Bartholdi, maybe, I think is how you say his name. And they kind of conceived it in 1865 as a tribute to American liberty and endurance. And then they designed it, started building it piece by piece, and then shipped it in 214 crates to the U.S. Like, how cool. And then in the U.S., they built the base for it and then put it together on top of there. So it was a gift. And oops, I have the wrong kind of pen. Hold on one second. Let me switch my pen. Let's use this one. So this was during, it was actually dedicated on October 28th, 1886, which was during the presidency of Grover Cleveland, right here. And it was dedicated in 1886, which would be the 100 year, the centennial of the, Declaration of Independence and everything, 1776. So that is when that happened. But a whole bunch of my story really has nothing to do with this part of it. So on July 4th of 1776, they added the tablet in her left hand. And I think on that tablet it says a government. Well, actually, I'm not sure. It says something. I don't know. I think in this book it might tell us exactly. But the whole idea was it was a birthday gift from France, and it was celebrating a government by the people and for the people. So, and it's near Ellis Island. So it has been a beacon for the immigration. And this kind of leads us to our first, thing that gets argued that I'm not going to get into. But there are people who say, well, she was actually, that, I think Bartholdi, the sculptor, I think he was an abolitionist, maybe. I think that part might be true. He believed in freedom. But then people have said that she was originally black, and some people say they shipped her back to have it redone. I haven't, the National Park Service and everywhere I could look, they don't seem to agree that that is accurate in any way, and that would have been very costly and everything. But it seems like maybe her original, the sculptor was looking at a woman who was of Arab descent, but they ended up building her to look like the Greek goddess Liberty. And then people talk about a chain on her foot and all this. So I don't know. I don't know about all that. I will bring it up just so that people don't think I'm avoiding it. I just don't know the answers to any of that. I didn't. That's not really what this video is about. Because what I was looking up was, did I go up in the torch? So they used to allow people to walk up to the crown and then climb up the ladder to the torch. But that ended in, hold on, let me get, in the year 1916. So a little before my time. And the reason was a thing called the Black Tom explosion. And I was like, say what? What is this? And I read that the Black Tom explosion was the largest sabotage prior to Pearl Harbor. Like, wait, what? So at this time, when the Black Tom explosion happened, so during Cleveland, Harrison, Cleveland, McKinley, Roosevelt, Taft, you could go up into the torch. But now we're at Woodrow Wilson. Okay. And Woodrow Wilson was president during World War I, the First World War. And he did not want the United States to become involved in the war. And most Americans agreed. They didn't want the U.S. to get involved in World War I. But that opened the United States up to selling munitions to whoever they liked, really. And they were selling munitions to the Allies. And so during that time, let's pull out this map. Hold on. In the state of New Jersey, which I kind of showed you where that was on the map, but we're going to get in a little more. Here's New York City. Here's New Jersey. Here's Staten Island. Here, right there, is the Statue of Liberty. Let's look in at this map. That'll get us a little closer in. So that's on page 80, 81. 5, 27, 80, 81. Okay, here we are. Sorry. Okay, so here we are. Here is the Statue of Liberty. Here's Ellis Island. And Ellis Island. Okay, I think it's like right here is the place I'm talking about. It's right near Ellis Island and Statue of Liberty. And it is an island. It was a rock. It was basically a big rock that was sticking out of the water. And it was dangerous to boats because sometimes they couldn't see it and they'd hit it. And I have heard reports that it looked like a black cat. And that's why it got the name Black Tom Rock. I've heard another story too that if I remember, I'll tell you later. And so then these, industrialists who were nearby started dumping garbage around the rock, like industrial garbage. And I think, I could be wrong. It could be they were just dumping garbage. But I think they were doing that to build the rock up to make an artificial island so that boats would no longer crash into it. It was just so dangerous. So they kept putting trash and trash and trash and created a big trash island, which isn't unusual, I don't think. And it was off of New Jersey. Well, once it finally got big enough, they were like, well, we may as well use the island. So they built a bridge that went from New Jersey to Black Rock Island. Black Tom Island. It was called Black Tom Rock and then Black Tom Island. And so basically, the New Jersey coastline is kind of here. Ellis Island is over here. There is this rock. And then they start putting garbage around the rock. And then they add a bridge that leads. So then they put, I think they were train tracks. Well, I do know they were train tracks. And they would store barges for shipping and train cars full of stuff until ships could show up to pick them up. They would store on this island. And, it's kind of convenient because it's out there in the water. Well, during World War I, because Wilson is now trading munitions or selling munitions to the Allies, they were storing a lot of munitions on this island. It basically became a munition storage facility. Now, in the year 1916, somebody, and I read it was German saboteurs, but that part I wasn't actually totally clear on who did it. But anyway, I think it was German, because they were on the other side in World War I of the Allies, who we were selling munitions to. So it was so full of like gunpowder, TNT, dynamite, munition stuff, that it didn't take much. You throw a match in there, the thing's just going to go up. So they intentionally caught it on fire, and this thing exploded like crazy. It exploded. The explosion was so strong. Hold on, let me get the other. Where did I put the U.S. map? The explosion was so strong that people in Maryland felt it. People in the town of, where is it? Hold on. Am I crazy? Where's Philadelphia? Oh, here's Philadelphia. Here in Philadelphia, this was happening up here. They felt it. Maryland felt it. That's how much of an explosion it was. They have like retrospectively, is that the right word, looked at it, and they said it was about a 5.8 on a Richter scale. It was a huge explosion, and it blew out buildings. It blew out windows in Manhattan. I mean, it just like, and one of the things it did was just throw shrapnel. Excuse me, I couldn't get the words out. Threw shrapnel all the way to the Statue of Liberty. And, so, oh no, why do I try to draw? Here's her crown. Here she is, holding her tablet. And then her other arm is a torch. That looks like her. She says, send me your... And then here's the thing. Okay, but the actual arm, because of the shaking, but also I think actual shrapnel hit it, they had to do $100,000 of repairs to the arm. And back then, that's equal to $5 billion trillion today. No, I don't know. It's not that. But it was a lot. But ever since then, and that was 1916, they have not allowed any visitors to go into the arm because of the Black Tom explosion. What? How about that? I had no idea. I know probably a lot of you, and certainly any of you live in New York City, know all about that, or New Jersey. But I had never, I don't remember that. So in the end, I only went to the ground. But my story about going up a spiral staircase seems like it was correct. One thing about this explosion, as far as I could tell, I mean, only like, I don't want to say only because any death is like, that's unfortunate, but it seems like about 4 maybe people died, but there were lots of injuries. But I'm surprised with something like that you didn't have more people. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, so yeah, so I was saying the Mandela effect is that a lot of people think that they went up here, but I think it's because our memory is going up this very tight spiral staircase. But really, you'd have to climb a ladder. It's like, and then it's a ladder up to her torch. And they may have allowed you to take a little peek at it. I feel like I do have a memory of taking a little peek up it, but I don't, looking. I'm not sure about that. But the conspiracy theory that I heard with them, I swear there's conspiracy theories about everything, is that so many people remember doing this, and so many people have pictures from up there, but I think really the pictures are probably from the ground. That, and this was never taught in school, that they believe that you could go up there, and they've changed the history since then. Dun, dun, dun. And then the other thing I was going to tell you about the Black Tom explosion. So I have read that the island, the rock, originally looked like a black cat, and that's why I got the name Black Tom. And then I heard another story that said it was because a person of dark skin tone, whatever that means exactly, was a fisherman who used the island all the time. And that's who it's named after. But I'm not sure. So that's, I don't know. Could go either way, I guess. So I thought we could look up in the cultural literacy, see if Black Tom explosion's in here. But also we can look up the Statue of Liberty. I think in here it tells you what she said, so I don't think I know it because I actually took a look at it earlier. A, B, C, D, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, 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 L. Black hole, Black Death. That would be interesting. Black Hugo, Black Boy, Black Death, Black Hills, Black Hole of Calcutta, Black Lung. That would be interesting. Black Market. Yeah, I don't see it. I wonder if it was called anything else. I don't know. But anyway, Statue of Liberty. I actually have marked. There's Napoleon. Mother Teresa. Okay. Oh, this is not it. I thought I had it marked. I had that marked for something else. Never mind. Well, it's probably right here, though, right? S-T. Nope. This is world history. Okay, hold on. Let's go look her up. Sorry. G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. Statute of Limitations. Statue of Liberty, page 188. I think her full name was Statue of Liberty Enlightening the World. How cool is that? I think when they built her. 1888. Statue of Liberty. A giant statue. Oh, speaking of that, there's like a quarter-size replica statue in Paris that some Americans who lived in Paris, I believe, they like paid for that and gifted it to France for a like a celebration of French independence. French independence? Yeah. French Revolution, I guess, for the French Revolution. Okay. A giant statue on the island in the harbor of New York City. It depicts a woman, I feel like I'm talking weird, representing liberty. Sorry. It depicts a woman, representing liberty, raising a torch in her right hand and holding a tablet in her left. At its base is inscribed a poem that contains the lines, "Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free." Frederick Bartholdi, a Frenchman, was the sculptor. France gave the Statue of Liberty to the United States in the 19th century. It was shipped across the Atlantic Ocean in sections and reassembled. The statue was overhauled and strengthened in the 1980s. For many immigrants who came to the United States by ship in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, the Statue of Liberty made a permanent impression as the first landmark they saw as they approached their new home. That's so cool. You know, it makes me think of the movie Titanic. Now I'm feeling like I'm remembering it wrong. But didn't they in that movie sail by it? I don't know. Wait, or did the Titanic come from England? Oh no, I'm gonna have to do the Titanic now. Anyway, so that's pretty cool. Wait, let's look up the Titanic. I know I don't know anything. Page 236. No, it left New York Harbor, right? I'm not misremembering that. A British luxury ocean liner thought to be unsinkable, which sank on its first voyage in 1912 after running into an iceberg in the North Atlantic Ocean. Over 1,500 people drowned. Didn't tell us what happened. Well, I guess I can't think anything else about Statue of Liberty. I'm surprised in this book there isn't a picture of the Statue of Liberty. I wonder if there is at the front of this map. Sometimes this has pictures at the beginning. Let's just see. I mean, how could they not? Central.